I feel like Wildcard are gonna have the advantage because Ham Average haven't really been doing much practice lately, and Wildcard also has a lot of like the players have a lot of synergy individually because they play a lot together and stuff. So I feel like Wildcard has the upper hand. Oh, for sure. Ham Average doesn't really have much synergy because they don't play too much, you know.
I think it's gonna be one of the closest series we have had so far. Like every time I've been on the pregame, I think this is my fifth time. I've predicted a 3-0 every time, and I'm not gonna predict a 3-0 this time. It's probably 2-1. I'm not gonna say who yet, but
Really? Oh, you're holding on to it, Camo.
yeah,
That's
it's
greedy.
it's, it's too early.
Greedy, greedy. All right. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Fancy. The man of the
Uh,
hour. Welcome to the pregame show, by the way.
In his
I
bed.
mean, I know you're having a good time here. I mean, both hands up, just so that we know what's going on here. There we go. Okay, stream. We know he's not doing anything crazy. Fancy, how are you feeling about this series today, man?
I'm really hyped about this series. I really think that Ham Average is going to be like really strong in mid, but they're going to make a mistake the very first game. I'm calling it right now. Like,
Really? What? Okay, so what do you see? So
I,
MVP
I
was
see,
leaning
I
on the
see,
side
I
of
see
a wild card.
Muskie's team is going to win the very first game, and then Ham Average will start getting better, and then win 2 games in a after.
I think it's different. I think if Wildcard wins the first one, then they're gonna win the second one as well. Because Ham Average is gonna tilt. Because they're like one of those teams.
Interesting. So you think that their player? Here's my analysis.
Mhm.
My analysis coming into this series is that I think that the better players in this series, the overall better players, are on Ham Average. I think that they have the better overall individual players.
Right.
And they even have a few mercenaries that are good pickups too, where you usually have like Blueprint coming in on a Priest. They've got great Boomkins in Nature. They got Stabilt, Hardbaits, all these really solid players, especially in roles where you need them too, especially in like Boomkins, Hunters, classes where they're moving around the map. They've got a lot of strength there. Not to say that Muskie's teams don't. I think Muskie's team has a lot more synergy, and I think you nailed it on the head, MVP. A lot of synergy. I personally think that I have a strong gut feeling, Muskie's going to run Guardian, and
Obviously.
I think if they run Guardian in midfield, I think they're going to lose. I think
Think
that
they're gonna lose?
I think if they
Why?
take them 10 people in midfield, I think they're going to lose.
How does that make any sense? Do you mean lose mid?
No,
Or
not
lose
necessarily
game?
lose mid, but I think they're going to lose
Oh.
the game.
Oh, I disagree.
You disagree?
I don't
here's-
know.
Yeah, because Ham Average
I,
plays
I
double
can
boomy
speak
as
on that
well.
if you want.
Ham Average plays double boomy, you know?
Well, one of the things I think that goes into Ham Average's favor is I think that they have run more comps than any other team in the NWL, up there with Muskie's team. There's been a lot of different looks for these guys. I mean, let's be honest here. They've run double Boomkin. They've run Resto Druid. No, they haven't run Rogue, but they've run double Warlock at some point. They're a flexible team, and I think they'll change it up facing whatever opponent. They're gonna mix it up. Camo, what are your thoughts coming into this right now? What do you think? Where do you think these two teams stand in terms of identity?
Identity? Well, I think Muskie's guild name speaks for itself. I don't know. What is? I have
Well,
some
unfortunately,
insider
no longer
information.
guild name, but yeah, rest in
I was
peace.
I was doing some talking to some of the guild leaders earlier today, and I got some insider information that we might see a Guardian Druid today.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh.
I won't say when, but
Mm.
they might break it out at some point.
Okay.
But
This is wild card.
Fingers crossed. Yes.
Well, that's no.
It's not a guarantee
Yeah.
at all. Like I'm hoping that we'll see a Guardian, but not sure. I haven't seen Ham Average play in like a month or two. Like whenever
Exactly.
they played, I guess I haven't watched in the streams at all or whatever. So I don't know what they're gonna pull out. I know there's some good individually skilled players, but I don't really know like what to expect, to be honest. I think it's gonna be a very close series though.
I think that's fair enough. I think this will be a very close series, no matter what. Fancy, Mr. Giggly over there. We know your
Oh,
hands
sorry,
are
I'm just
up.
reading chat. This is so funny.
This is great,
I
man.
can't log in.
I got something for you. Fancy, you know a lot of these guys personally. You've played with a lot of these guys. Stabilt, Alex, Dan, some of the core guys that are at least currently involved on the roster right now for Ham Average. In my opinion, I think that they have a lot of flexibility in terms of who they can move around on different classes. To me, I would say that these guys are going to bring out a comp to counter Muskies. Because I think that they're... Here's what I'm thinking. If you told me that Muskie wasn't playing Guardian, I would be surprised at this point. I would be surprised if he didn't play Guardian. So going into it, like from a team mindset, I'd be like, okay, they're going to play Guardian. They're going to play full mid, right? So what are we going to build to go against that? Because I think that Guardian works. It can work. It's a lot of heavy single target pressure, and you have an extra frontline DPS and Trado the Boomkin. Like, literal frontline, like in-your-face melee frontline. But at the same time, they take a ton of damage, and you don't have pick control. So, Fancy, if you knew... I'll pose it to all you guys. We'll start with Fancy. If you knew you were going to queue into a Guardian Druid and they were going to play all-in midfield, what would you build to break that?
Oh, Jesus. Guardian is, like, insanely hard to go against. The best chance is that you go mage, and then you just, like, punish him when he charges in. And then you just, like, get the mage to get kicks and pulleys, and then just completely punish the Guardian. Or whatever
Would
they're from.
you, if you knew a team was going to play Guardian, would you roll a full 10 in mid, or would you play Resto Druid?
I would play Resto Druid, and then just make him go for a speed cap at the very first start. You'd give him boots, you'd give him lusts. He would easily get one cap within, like, a minute.
Now, Camo, MVP, how do you guys feel about that? I'll pose the question to you guys.
I've been in pleb maids personally where I've seen Muskie be literally on top of the GUI with his warrior farming the crap out of the other team. I've been on both sides getting farmed and doing the farming, but I've seen them lose games while farming the other team just because they get played outplayed objectively because the Guardian like doesn't always let them play objectively.
I think it's a double-edged sword. Like you, not like. See, I don't even know if I personally like if you were gonna tell me, okay, we're gonna run an all-in comp, we're gonna run an all-in midfield comp. Like, I like what Guardian brings in terms of like single target pressure, but it takes extra damage, and it's just not as good outside of mid. Like, I would rather run a Boomy. I would rather run 2 Boomies than I would rather run a Guardian in most case scenarios. MVP, posing the question to you. If you knew a team was going to play a Guardian and they were going to play all in midfield, what would you run to beat that?
I'll probably just run full 10-man and then, like, in mid, and then have double Boomy instead of a Guardian. Like, just play the same comp. Because I feel like since they banned landslide stacking, I feel like Guardian is not that strong anymore.
Interesting. Okay. So you would just take them head on. You would take them head on. You say,
Yeah,
YOLO, we're gonna run.
If you look at it from like an objective standpoint, let's say both teams are equally good. Clearly, the team with double Boomy is gonna win mid because it's a stronger mid comp, right?
Well, in terms of pressure, it's a stronger mid comp, but in terms of single target burst, there is pickings on both sides
You
there.
don't have landslide stacking anymore, so you don't have that burst anymore on Guardian.
Interesting. I will say, I guess my prediction is that I think Muskie is gonna run Guardian until it doesn't work, and if he gets 3-0'd the first game, like maybe they swap it up. But even if it's like a close game, I bet you he runs it again. I think they're going to run Guardian. It's what they like to do. It's what their team's built around. Now, something that we didn't bring up yet that I want to touch on a little bit here is Muskie's team's actually one of the few teams right now that is not only bringing in a strong midfield team with no Resto Druid FC, bringing in that Guardian, but they're also bringing in a Rogue with 4 healers a lot of the time. And you don't see a lot of teams doing that. I mean, they're probably the only team. Muskie's team.
They're playing Rogue?
Well,
Yeah,
a lot of the time
Blackout.
they run 4 healers and they bring Blackout on a Rogue and they run 1 Hunter. They're the only team that does that.
That's
Now,
dumb.
Well, what's your thoughts on it, MVP? What do you think? Why do you like that? Why don't you like that?
I think that's really fucking desperate. Like that's like a comp you run if you can't fill or like the role that you want, Like if you have a healer too much and you don't have the other role filled or whatever. I don't like that at all.
I don't know. I think they're just confident in if they can win mid with the Guardian, then they still have the Rogue to play objectively with the Hunter, so they can do both at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To try and do things with, but they might be trying to do too much and bite off more they can chew.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I feel like either you all in mid or you don't. That's how I feel about it.
You know, one of the things I'm thinking today as well, too, is one of the players that I like keeping track of, especially for Wildcard. There's good players on both sides here, and a few people that I always like to see, what class are they playing? Yorkie is one of those people. Yorkie is one of these players that can multi-class at a very high level, whether it's Warrior, Mage, Ellie Shaman. But it looks like today, or at least so far, I see Yorkie posted up on a Hunter right now. So, given that knowledge, where we normally see Yorkie playing something like a Warrior, Ellie, or Mage, having him on a Hunter, does that maybe give us a little light into what kind of comp they're running, or maybe they're bringing something out a little bit different?
Well, the other Hunter they usually run is Grizzle, right?
Right.
So, and they're gonna have double. They're not gonna run double Hunter and a Rogue. That's just not gonna happen. So I'm not looking to see if Grizzle's online. I don't have Blackout added, so I can't check. So I don't know exactly what they're gonna run. But if Yorkie's a Hunter, unless Grizzle's not here, I don't know.
Grizzle is online, and it doesn't look like Blackout is available. So maybe they're bringing in that double Hunter to, like you said, replace Blackout or substitute there. So I think that this game, here's how I feel. I don't feel like a lot of the teams so far in the NWL are abusing teams that are running full mid comps. I think that there's a lot of teams that play into it. There's a lot of teams that don't know how to handle it because a lot of the newer teams just don't have the experience and are trying to just figure out their core and their identity. But if you run in all midfield and you lose that midfield fight and you're not the Guardian team, that doesn't mean you lose. By no means. But you have to understand, like, okay, we're losing mid, maybe we lost a kill or two, like, what can we do to relieve pressure off ourselves? Because that's what you can do, because let's say from, Muskie's team, a lot of the teams that they're going against, they have a lot of pressure with the Guardian Druid, they're bringing 10 in midfield, but then the teams that they're going against maybe aren't necessarily taking people and putting them in objective spots in the map, breaking them out, making them have to take people out of midfield. I feel like that this team today here from Hey I'm Average is going to test them and make them play objectives as well too while running that Guardian, and I think that'll be the hurdles that I think we'll have to watch here and see how both teams handle those situations. You're talking about two veteran teams here. I think they're going to really play to the top notch today.
I disagree actually with the.
Really?
I agree.
No.
Okay, I want to hear you out.
All right. So you said that you think Ham Average is going to play objectively and like just give up mid if they lose or whatever.
No. But I do think that if they are losing midfield, they're too smart of players to not break off and at least contest objectives. I think they're going to play midfield.
I disagree because I'm 100% certain that that they're just going to go all in mid with double boomy. Ham
Really?
Average. Yes.
Do we have any inside information as to what they actually might be running today? We've had a lot of like little hints as to what Wildcard might be doing. Let's have a look and maybe see if we can figure out anything going on here with Ham Average.
Bacon is on Ham Average's roster, right? Bacon, and he played boomy in the Twin Cup.
And a great player too, absolutely.
Oh, if Bacon is playing today, it's definitely gonna be a mid game.
Yeah, exactly. If he doesn't play, obviously,
We'll have to keep track and see if he's online or whatnot, if he is playing that boomy spot, because I do think that they have a lot of midfield. Camo, you had something to say. What else did you have to say? A counter.
I was agreeing with you. Obviously they have to play mid to a certain extent, but if they can play outside of mid objectively well, then they can't. Then it's going to force wildcard bitches to not be able to use the Guardian Druid the way they want to. Make them. Don't let Wildcard play their game. Force them to play their game, where the Guardian Druid isn't as effective, and kind of exploit that weakness.
Right. I'm not saying that. I think you're right, MVP. I do think that both teams are going to play mid. But I guess the point I wanted to emphasize, I think that you have two veteran teams here with a lot of experience in pre-mating. If they are losing midfield, if Ham Average goes against the Guardian and for some reason they're they're falling apart. They get a few kills early, and they have to fall back. I think that Ham Average is smart enough objectively to at least make them send 2 or 3 people up to get the flag by sending hunters back or sending boomkins back. Some sort of objective pressure, too. Fancy, you have the biggest smile in the world, man.
He's
Oh,
reading
it's
chat,
actually
dude.
chat. It's actually so funny.
What do you think, man? You know these guys from Ham Average better than anyone
I'm
here.
really
You've
hyped
been
for Ham
around 'em.
Average. If they get like FedEx,
I know them
and
pretty well.
They gotta win mid no matter what if they have those.
I think you're biased, MVP. I was gonna call you upward earlier, but I didn't get a chance to at the start.
Oh, the Camo, come on, man. Like,
You're biased.
dude, I've played with Ham Average, dude. You know, I got the inside information, dude. You guys don't know shit.
Oh, the inside. Okay, so what do you think? What do you think, man? What do you?
All right, tell
What
us
are
how
we
it is.
missing here? Do you see?
Yeah.
Are there any details going on? Do you see?
I think they're gonna be very, very like if the first game, at least the first game, they're gonna like go mid again and again and again and again. They're gonna try mid like until they lose, and then the second game, I think they're gonna be on tilt and they're gonna lose the entire game.
If they lose. So
If
you're
they-
saying, so you think, so how important is this first game in the series? Maybe that's something we should talk about here.
For Ham Average, not for Wildcard, because Wildcard is very chill, while Ham Average can be very you know, tilting.
I honestly, I think you know, this is something maybe we haven't hovered over. I actually think this first game is a huge tilt-a-whirl written all over it. Because in my
Wildcard?
opinion,
I agree.
I think that there are team leaders on both sides that would get really frustrated taking a 3-0 in the first game. Now, let's say if it's a close game, I don't think people are going to be that upset and they'll keep moving on, but if either team dishes out a 3-0, Muskie's going to tilt for sure, and
Yep.
you're saying that there's a lot of guys on Ham Average that it's going to get
You
under their
tilt.
skin.
Personally, I haven't seen Wildcard tilt, so I don't have that information, so you're probably right. But I just know that Ham Average is a tilting team. So you're probably right. Wildcard is probably a tilting team. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're right. Then both teams,
Send it around the tilt-a-whirl.
it's like a tilt game, you know? Like they both need
Right.
to win or, you know.
Now, one thing I think that we should point out for those of you guys that are new, or are new to the 19 scene, how a Guardian Druid is implemented in pre-mades I think is maybe not quite as understood to the general public. So what a Guardian Druid brings into midfield is higher single target burst while also having some sort of spread pressure. Something similar to a warrior, but they take more damage. They do have 60 rage defensive to get extra dodge and extra damage mitigation, but they have to have that rage available. They use wild charge root a lot of times to catch people out of position and do high burst damage. It brings a lot of utility to your front line, a lot of burst, but not necessarily as much spread pressure as something like a Boomkin, and you do take more damage. So just for what you guys can be expecting coming into this game, a lot of frontline pressure here for Wildcard if they do choose to go with the Guardian Druid. Fancy.
If they go Guardian and they lose, it's gonna be horrible. Like, honestly, it's gonna be like the worst shit done.
Risk reward.
All right,
Fans are like praying, dude. What the fuck?
let's do
man?
some predictions. Let's do some first game
We
predictions.
don't have much time left.
Let's do some first game predictions here. Like how I think we can all come to the agreement now that we think this first game is so important in the scheme
Right.
of how this series is going to go.
Right.
Let's make it fun first, and then we'll get to the point after.
Okay.
If Muskie's team wins
Mhm.
the first game,
Okay.
do they 2-0?
If they win the first game, do they
Yeah.
2-0?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Well, I mean 3-0, I guess technically.
Are you talking
Oh,
about
it's a three-game
flags
series.
or
My
the
bad, my bad.
series?
No,
I'm
no,
still
no, no, no.
confused
Excuse
right
me,
now.
excuse me.
They're gonna play three
Okay,
games
let me
anyway.
rephrase
The
that.
score of the
Let
first
me
game.
rephrase. No. Let me rephrase that. Excuse me. Okay.
Oh.
Try two. For the first game, how important do you think it would be for the entire team to sweep that series if they get the first game? So for Muskie's team, if they win the first game, do you see them sweeping the entire series? Versus if Ham Average wins the first game, do you see them sweeping the entire series?
I mean, I think that obviously both teams, we think it's going to be a close series. But since we're talking about so much, like how the two leaders can tilt, I could see like even though they're close in skill, like I could see it being like a 3-0 sweep potentially, depending on how the first game goes. If it's really bad,
Oh no.
because then they'll be forced to swap something. I don't know. I still think it's gonna be a close series though.
Nah, Camo, come on, man. Like, look. Listen. Okay. So the first game, yeah. Let's say one team wins that game, okay? The opposite team is gonna tilt and lose the second game. But on the third game, the tilting team is not gonna tilt anymore because they don't care. So
I don't know about that, dude. You seen some of these guys in like pleb mates before?
Yeah, I don't. I think that
I mean, if we're talking about tilting, right? The third game is not going to be a tilt game because
Yeah,
the team's
okay.
not going to care anymore. While the reason why you tilt in the first game and second game is because you care.
Okay. Well, let's get away from the tiltathon here. So let me pose another question.
I think we need predictions. How much time do we have left?
We got some time. No worries.
7 minutes, dude. Calm down.
Next question here. Fancy, I know you didn't answer. Just deal with it. Next question.
Fancy's just reading chat.
So let's say that let's say that Muskie's team loses the first game. Ham Average wins the first game, and they're running the Guardian. Does Muskie change his comp?
Yes.
If Muskie loses with Guardian, he has to change comp easily.
I think if Muskie wins the first game with Guardian, he's not going to change. If he loses without Guardian, he's going to change. No, wait, no, that was so wrong.
Flipped.
I just went to Africa, dude. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my.
Listen.
Yeah,
Okay.
Try to.
So, If Muskie's team loses with Guardian,
Yes.
they're not going to play Guardian the second game.
Yeah.
If they lose without Guardian, they're going to try Guardian. I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah. Sounds right.
I think they're gonna run Guardian. So if they win, right? Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay. Do you think it's score dependent? So let's say they lose a game 2-1 versus a 3-0 game. Do you think
Obviously.
that they would? Do you think that they would still make that change?
Depends though, because if they lose 2-1, like flags, the one cap that the other team gets, ham average, can be a speed cap, and you don't really you kind of shrug that off usually, like a speed cap, because it's like whatever, but because like a speed cap doesn't make the game close, it just stalls it out. You feel me?
I don't think it's.
I guess it depends on what the scoreboard is when you get
It
the speed
depends how
cap.
mid goes, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with Fancy. I don't think it depends on the caps. I think it depends on how the flow of the game is, and then they could like, if we got stopped like.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
70%
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
game,
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
even though the
exactly.
score doesn't show it, the momentum in the game showed the control. Like,
Okay.
okay, and then we need to make like X change or Y change depending on how it went.
I think you're right.
I
think
cut
you're right.
Fancy off. I'm sorry. I think
fine.
he was gonna say that.
Okay.
Saxon, man. No.
Yo, put those hands up.
Hands up, team! Free the Twinks! All right. Final predictions going into this series. Let's close it up. I'm going to go MVP Camo, then Fancy. I want the 3-game series. No scores, but 3-game series. Who are you favoring? Who wins what? MVP? 3-game series. Who's
Alright,
taking this?
Wildcard wins the entire thing, okay?
Right.
But there's a chance that they're gonna lose 2-1.
So-
No, win 2-1. Sorry.
So,
they're gonna
what's the
2-1.
score? What's the 3-game series?
Right.
Give me the wins and losses. Game by game.
The first game, like how many flags or whatever?
Nope. Just wins and losses. 3-game series. Who wins
They're gonna
each
win the
game?
first game, win the second game, and lose the third game.
Okay. I like that. You think they're going to have the Guardian momentum? Okay. Camo?
I smell tilt.
3-game series, 1, 2, and 3. How do they go?
Well, it's gonna be a 2-1. I think
Okay, I like that.
in favor of. I don't know. I'm making up my mind right now. I'm gonna pick a wild card bitches just because I don't honestly. I think it could go either way, 2-1. I haven't seen Ham Average play
Okay.
in like a long time, so I'm
like
gonna have
that.
to go. I'm gonna have to go with what I've seen.
You like their synergy. You guys like the synergy coming from Wildcard. It seems
Yeah.
like. They got a lot of practice, got a lot of numbers under their belt. I like that.
I think it's like 2-1, but like 60-40. Like anything can happen. Like it's not like a huge difference.
Okay. I think that's fair. Fancy?
2-1 to Ham Average. I know Ham Average is going to make a mistake and just lose a game for some reason.
I am siding with Fancy. We are clean split on the 2-1s, boys. I'm going 2-1, Ham Average.
Gotta set money on this shit, man.
I
Damn
think
it,
that
I should've
Muskie's
went on
going to
the other
get
side.
dunked on the first game playing Guardian. He's going to have to change comps, and then it gets competitive.
Yep.
All right, guys. We will see you guys in just a few minutes here. We're going to get ready to get the series going. Thank you, MVP, Camo, and Fancy for joining me on the pregame show. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be getting into the games here shortly. Keep it easy, guys.
Thanks.